The stock market is tumbling down and it's not what you think. In this episode, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to show you the charts and the details that you need to know and why this matters to everybody. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I want to begin right here. You could see the uncertainty that's going on. It's not just the rhetoric, it's not just the people at the water cooler in your office. We are talking about, in many cases, measured in many ways. Is it the fear and greed index? Is it coming out here? Well, here is just one thing, the uncertainty index around economic policy that has come up. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Is it going to be tariffs? How much? We're always being kept on our toes. Look at this in terms of technical indicators, in terms of the moving averages. These things are all saying buy, buy, buy because the stock market has come down a little bit. If you look at particular stocks like Tesla, it has been smashed over the last while, and some are starting to get in. Should that be you? Should you be going all hands in? Let's see. Longer term inflation expectations. This is a big measurement. Why? Because if they have to increase interest rates at some point in the future, that is bearish for stocks, that is bearish for risk assets. And if you see what Powell said just recently, everything over the last 2 years has been going well in our direction, that we've been trying to get it down to the 2% goal. We're just not there yet. That's what Powell's saying. The market is expecting some inflation, as we can see in the bond market. That's what they are saying. Look, if you take the amount of people that are shorting, the amount of people that buy, let's say, bets on that the market's going to come down, whenever that comes up, starts to rise and starts to rise and starts to rise, that's usually the time when stocks are coming down. Okay? Think of this like an insurance. It's a protection. But people don't buy that at the bottom, like when things are, I should say, at the top. They buy it when it's too late, essentially. And the exact same pattern is happening now. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't have some sort of bottom falling out and this continues to go lower and lower, but I have been massively, massively accurate in the past, pinpointing the bottom of the stock market in October of 2022, I guess it was. And you have to look at positioning like this. It's important. Seasonality is something else where typically in March we do get this volatility. All of these things are conflated and confused in a lot of people, where they're like, no, this is because of, this or that. It's because this guy scratched his face. It's because that guy picked his nose. Like, it's not how it works. It's really not how it works. Tesla retail fans buy the stock at a pace never seen before. So the retail investor is going all in. They probably made some money in 2019 into 2020 because their favorite YouTuber told them to buy in. Maybe they missed that initial run up in 2019 to 2020. What was it that made the stock go up in 2019 to 2020? Was it because the company had been selling a lot of cars? That wasn't the reason. It was all based on this idea that we're going to have these robo-taxis, 1 million robo-taxis on the street. We heard that coming from the man himself, but also from Cathie Wood. She was getting popularity around that time, and that was reverberating throughout, the social media, but also into the traditional mainstream financial media, and it never happened, right? But now what are they talking about? They're talking about the cyber cab, or cyber taxi, or whatever it's called, and they're talking about the robots. It should be based on fundamentals and how many cars they're selling. They sell a lot of cars. Okay, at one point the Model Y was like the most best-selling car globally or something like this. Like, that's what it should be based on. But of course, it's all nonsense. You got to understand, read between the lines. Read between the lines. When things get crazy, when you look at the technical analysis, it comes the other way. I break that down fully for the Finance Friday crew. So shout outs to the Finance Friday crew, where we get into it like 2.5 hours in depth. We look at the technical analysis. We look at what's happening politically. We look at everything. Bank of Canada lowers key interest rate as U.S. tariffs hit. Says it will remain cautious about future cuts. They have cut many times in a row because Canada is in big trouble. Big trouble. These other countries are getting slaughtered. Look, that's all the technicals. That's all the things. But what's important to you, right? Is like what kind of bills you got to pay? What are we dealing with as individuals? Landlords charging up to $1,300 rent to the homeless could soon be curbed. Landlords. Never heard of that term before, but here we are. Is your money gone before it arrives? The sad reality of American paychecks. All of this being, just a continuing trend of the depreciating existence, in which we have, where, an average salary cannot buy you the average life, right? Well, in other news, Florida explores ditching property tax as home prices soar. They're talking about reducing it or even getting rid of it altogether. We don't know if that's going to happen, but even the suggestion, the idea of that, to me is amazing, because I'm obviously not in favor of any tax, but property tax being one of those that hits people really hard. Why? Fixed incomes. If you're on a fixed income and they're saying, the price of your home is worth more and more and more, and you're like, yeah, well, not doing me any good. And so those prices can continue to go up. So I would love to see, if any tax, I'm in favor of getting rid of them all. If any tax, put it on the consumption side. Okay. Tax, if you want to tax rich people, tax consumption. Tax consumption. Okay. Because the rich people spend a lot of money. Big moves that are happening right here. If you look at what's going on with Warren Buffett, did you hear? Well, he made a big move. And that happens to coincide with what's happening in the bond market and what's happening with gold. And I will talk about that here extensively. You got to understand what Warren Buffett does is not always the best, right? He's made some mistakes. There's no question about that. But when he does something, it certainly is worth noting. And we'll look at that here. You could see gold pops above 3,000 for the first time in a historic safe haven rally. This has been continuing to go up and up and up. I mean, it did take a while. What seemed like 1,800 for like the longest time eventually has made its way to 3,000. It's performed quite well. Silver has underperformed, and it's been doing that for a very long time. It feels like it's never coming up. But in the case of gold, it has certainly been there, and for many reasons. It is that true safe haven. But it's not just the paper, because when we're talking about 3,000 an ounce, that's paper gold. One of the things that you have to understand is we are seeing the taking of physical possession, physical precious metals from the exchanges. Normally, they just roll that stuff over. Nobody takes physical possession. Suddenly, there's a massive surge of individuals, companies, whatever. They want to take that physical possession. That is unusual. There's money being moved around, okay? So that's worth noting, as well as Compass in talks to buy Warren Buffett's real estate brokerage unit. Warren Buffett doesn't want to do this business anymore. I don't know what's going on internally in the business, but you may have seen Berkshire Hathaway signs around if you haven't dealt with them personally. And, it's something that you would think it's fairly simple and cheap business to run, and you can make a lot of money long term because it's those commissions. It's kind of like the company makes dividends going forward. And instead, they want to, looks like, they want that cash, maybe put it more into more cash. The guy's got 300 billion plus in cash sitting in, what is effectively cash equivalents, not cash. This is the type of thing that you see when there's big concerns. Now, he's not the only one doing this, and he's not the be all end all. But what is gold saying? What is Warren Buffett saying? Which is, of course, the third one, the bond market saying that there's something happening underneath all of this. Everybody's getting uneasy. I'm happy to report that the stock market came down. That's a good thing. That's healthy. When it was going straight up, everyone was like, yeah, of course it's going straight up. AI, baby, that's what's going to happen. And then it started coming down, and we're like, oh my God, why is everyone overreacting? No, the rise was the problem. It should have never have gone up parabolically like that. So this is a healthy process. And hopefully never works out this way, but hopefully it sort of flatlines for a while, regroups, builds a stronger foundation, and then we can move on. Usually it's exaggerated up and down, and we will see what happens. This is abnormal. This is the market analysis coming from every single angle in one video. Try to keep it at 10 minutes. We go into these things for 2.5 hours on the Finance Friday. I hope that you'll be one of those people that we can see on the Finance Friday. If time zone issues for some people, we actually have the recordings. You can watch the recordings later. But I love it when people join live. We're basically just a small group of friends, and we get together, and I prepare a presentation, and then we have question and answer, and we really look at assets at a different level. There's nothing really like it as far as I'm aware. And you just get informed. You become the most informed person in your social circle. There's no question about that, because I have so much to share, and we can get into it in depth. And people are in the group just ask incredible questions. It's amazing, and they give fantastic information too. So if you want to join, link in the description, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. When you do, you're supporting the channel. I want to thank each and every one of you, all the viewers, all the people who give the thumbs up, everybody who donates financially, and everything. I just really appreciate everything over this last so many years. I've been doing this since 2011, and things have changed. I do my other businesses. I have multiple businesses, and that's where I spend most of my time. But this is something that I really appreciate, because I have so many good people that I've been able to talk to over the years. And I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.